Today, Ted and I discuss, is it worth repairing my piano? A question that seems to be on everyone's mind.
Hi, this is Ted with Alamo Music Center in beautiful downtown San Antonio, Texas.
I'm Patrick Moore. You can find us online at alamomusic.com. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channels, check out our other videos, sign up for notifications, like our videos, leave us comments. We appreciate your support. We love to interact with you.
I like this question. You want to know why? There's no end to the answer.
I know this video could be as long as we want it to be. We'll try to keep it concise because really there is some good information to go over here. And the question again, it has the it depends answer. But we'll try to not cop out with that and try to give some actual meaningful information to people who maybe have a piano or they see that free piano or their mom or grandma has a piano. Or dad or grandfather has a piano and they want to pass it down. Is it worth repairing my piano? And I think, like most questions that are phrased this way, I think it's important to zoom out and say, what's my goal in getting this instrument? And how do you answer the question of what is the end result that I want as this person or for my kids or whatever the instrument's going to be for? What is your actual end goal for it?
Well, yeah. And that's always the point is like, well, see, my grandma or my auntie has a piano and it's an old one and she's had it her whole life. It's been a one owner. And she said that I'm welcome to it so the kids can learn on it. I'm just wondering if it's a good piano. And she said it might need some things. It depends if it's worth repairing because you don't know what it needs. This is the other thing. So if you can determine an accurate list. And so I always say, step one, get it tuned. That'll tell you a lot that anyone's looking to know about that piano. One, will it hold a tune? And then it also to give the tuner an idea of approximately when the last time it was tuned. You can tell when you start turning the pins.
And so you've been tuning recently.
I've been tuning recently.
As a tuner, do you feel like all tuners are equipped to be technicians for the instrument?
They are, but a lot of them don't want to know how to repair them. They just want to be able, and most of them are going to learn how to identify problems, and whether they fix them or not determines on, at that piano right then and there, that it's something that's going to have to be called to the attention of the owner.
Yeah, so there's specialized technicians that do these.
And some repairs are real minor. I mean, sometimes the number one biggest thing, it's all broken, it won't work. The pedals are broken. And people equate pedals on a piano with one thing. What's that?
A car.
Pedals on a car. So if they're broken, the thing, you can't drive it. And that's incorrect. The pedal is just
a rod.
It's the simplest mechanical thing on the piano. It goes up and pushes up. You push down, and it goes up. That's it. That rod always falls off because it just gets old.
Well, I think it's important to remember pianos are mechanical instruments. A lot of the functionality that goes on is moving parts.
Right.
And so that sounds simple, but it can be very complicated
when you add a generation or two of age along into that mechanical device, think of how many of, Eli Whitney's cotton gins are still out there running around right now. Even though they were great machines, they're not. Same thing with a 1950s or 60s Wurlitzer Spinet that your auntie has.
And we see a lot of those, all the way back to the 1940s to about and now it's almost through the 70s. Everything in that time period is approaching antique and not approaching a usable instrument.
Right.
And there's maintenance, and something we want to talk about in this video is there's maintenance that can be done to instruments, and often, even with people who play a lot of their piano, don't do routine maintenance, and it can be similar to driving a car and never changing the oil.
Yeah, and there are so many Spinet pianos out there, and I'm not saying that they're worthless. They're great. I learned how to spin it. I mean, my first piano for 5 years was a Spinet, and a lot of people I know that play it spin it. I mean, the upright pianos, the shorter you could get them, the least amount of space and intrusion they made.
But you learned a long time ago, right?
I learned a lot, yeah. But here's the thing. It's almost to the point to where you would think the government would fund, quote unquote, a Spinet bank. So everyone that has a Spinet piano, they'll go pick it up. Like instead of returning guns, return the Spinets, and then find out which ones are good, which ones can be turned into guitars, take the materials, take the good ones, fix them up, and then distribute them into neighborhoods. that don't have pianos in their schools or in their, so that there's pianos around. When I was a kid, there was a piano all over the place.
Well, so in theory, that sounds like a great idea.
It does, but no one's...
and I think you brought up a great point earlier, and this kind of circles back to, is it worth repairing my piano? What's going to be the most expensive part about that? The labor.
The labor. That's the whole thing.
Moving the instruments is expensive.
Yeah.
And then any type of repair is going to be...
It's going to be expensive only because of the labor. There are not really any more expensive parts to get if something goes wrong, to break on a piano. Now, if you wanted to replace the hammers or replace the strings, it gets expensive because you need it 88 times. But those little felt things or just fixing one broken hammer, it's going to be labor driven. You're mostly paying for someone's time and effort and know-how. It's not like, hey, you need a new transmission, because
well, the pin block and the soundboard.
That's the other thing.
Are the exception.
The upfront, the most expensive cost is going to be getting a tuner out there, and then having him give an honest opinion. Like, you know what, this piano tunes up, it plays great, it'd be great for a kid for 10, 15 years. Take it from there. That's great. That's 9 times out of 10 what someone's looking for, is to check off the box and the desire to have a working, decent sounding instrument so someone can practice and continue learning or to learn on.
And so when you're assessing, is it worth it? I think it's important to look at alternatives as well. So I think the first step, to your point, is make sure you get an expert out to see the instrument, tune it up, see if it holds a tune, see if the notes are working, see if you're hearing any buzzing, seeing if the pedals are working. These are all things that any tuner could come in and assess pretty immediately. Only once you've played it extensively and heard, hey, these notes are acting funny when I'm playing them. There's deeper issues that arise. But again, it goes back to, is your goal to be a concert pianist? Is it to learn music? Is it to play a couple songs? What is the overall goal? And then what are your to your point, what's the alternatives to?
Yeah, there is an alternative too. And one of the alternatives is when someone says, well, I thought it would be a great piano for them. It's like, well, it would, but the pin block is gone. It won't hold a tune. So you're better off just getting another piano. That only means something to someone where getting another piano is important enough. A lot of times, I haven't played in 10 years. I'm not getting myself a piano. But there is the other side where, yes, it's worth every single penny you can put into it. In the case of, we have a senior citizen that grew up playing on a piano. That was a one-generation family-owned thing. It was carved, it was intricate, it was gorgeous. Now he's in his late 80s. He wants to play the piano of his dreams, which is the one when he was a kid. And now his thing's all broken down. Is it worth it to repair that? If the person knows they're spending the money just to reaccomplish the look and the playability and the sound, and I want it fully done. I know I can afford to buy 2 or 3 brand new pianos that'll play and sound better than this one, but I'm old, I'm not going to be around.
Sentimental value, yeah.
I want my instrument back as good as it could be before I go.
And that's a very expensive repair, but it is something that we do see people doing.
When it's delivered and you see that person's dreams come true, then how can you put a price tag on that?
I'll agree with that. And so again, goes back to the goal, goes back to the intention of what owning the instrument means to you. I think in today's market, with labor costs what they are, with the plethora of instruments that need a little bit of work, and what does that mean? Does that mean $500? Does that mean $1,500? I would say you're looking at a significant amount of money that in today's market, with the availability of digital instruments, is a hard bargain to go up against. And so, we'll end on that. It's important to know what you have. To your point, if it's like an heirloom, is it something that you grew up playing on that you want repaired? Is it a Steinway? There's certain brands that are worth.
The important thing, weigh the options.
The options, and then get a quote, get an analysis of what is wrong with it. Is it just out of tune? Sometimes really old pianos are just out of tune, and it's not very fun to play them even when they are tuned. And there's a lot of fun options out there with digital technology, and the availability and the price point of a lot of it. So weigh those options and figure out, is it worth it? Because you're the only one who's going to be able to answer that question if you lead with the value and the goal that you are looking for. So Ted and I discussing, is it worth repairing your pianos? If you have any questions, please leave comments below. A lot of people would love to discuss, hey, I have this. Should I, is it worth me, there's a lot of information out there. And so please leave comments. This will be kind of a...
But the value of sentimental value is the hardest thing in the world, to try to convince someone to either trash something or to invest in.
It's hard to let go sometimes.
It really is.
And so thank you guys. Please leave comments and be helpful with each other, because I think this is something that people need help with, and sometimes they need to be nudged one way or the other. Thank you guys for watching. Again, please subscribe so that we can continue to make you guys great content, and thank you for watching.